This episode of the Paycast Network podcast is sponsored by Deja Vu, payment technology that helps you get ahead of the competition and keep you there. Thanks for joining us. Let's jump into today's episode.
All right, welcome back into the Paycast Network, where we have a full house today. To my right, I have the best beard in the business, James.
Hello, everyone.
How we doing?
Doing good, Chase. How are you?
I'm awesome, thank you.
Good.
Also have a very good friend of the program back with us, Carlos. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Chase. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And then we also have a new face to the show, but definitely not a new face to the viewers, I'd say, Dave Humphrey.
Yeah, hey, Chase. Which camera do I look at? Hey, Chase.
I don't know.
How you doing?
We're going to try to get you to not look at any cameras. Just look at the beard. But thank you guys
good
for
to be
joining
here.
us. Thank you, James, as always.
Thank you.
We are here to talk about everyone's favorite topic, the thing that it seems, even though there are pretty, clear rules about it, everybody seems to kind of just decide that they maybe don't want to follow those, or, dual pricing. We're going to talk about dual pricing.
Oh, the old famous non-cash adjustment issue.
Yeah,
maybe that'll pop up.
MCA.
MCA.
Yeah. We'll talk about a little bit of
Finance
surcharging.
my new house
Make
with
some T-shirts on
MCA.
that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we should
Right.
have some Paycast T-shirts. Like I said, yeah. Dual pricing, non-cash adjustment, cash discount, surcharge, all of that, compliance. We're going to define and go through how that is supposed to work and how it sometimes ends up working. But before we do that, I think we might do James' favorite
If you say trivia.
segment. All right, let's do these real quick. What was the first version of Tap to Pay, and when was it created?
Oh, I do not know that, but I would have to say it would be in Europe. Oh, okay then.
Well, actually, this could have been in Europe. It doesn't specify.
I mean, Europe does everything before us
Yeah,
on the
they
payment
do.
side. Like, mysteriously,
and
they're
China.
always 7 years ahead. Whatever. But
Any guesses, James?
I'm not sure on that one.
Carlos?
China or Japan?
So,
80s.
Mobile, the gas station, introduced Speed Pass in 1997.
I remember.
Ah.
A little
It's a
stick.
keychain.
Yes, I
Yep.
remember
Okay.
that.
Used RFID. Yep.
I do remember that. I always wanted one.
I was
thinking
alive for that
tap
one.
to pay with the card, though.
Barely.
I was thinking it was a card, but I remember that device, the keychain thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Before credit cards, department stores used something in the 30s and 40s to take a transaction without cash. Do you know what it was?
The Knuckle Buster.
It reminds me of the Knuckle Buster, actually. It's fairly similar.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it a steel card that had the imprint of the person's name on it?
Bingo.
Yeah.
the
The
embossed.
charge plates.
Yeah, the charge plates.
Charge
That's what it
plates,
was.
okay.
But I think back then it was actually might have been made of. I can't remember.
They were small metal tags.
Yeah.
The customer's name and address.
Yep.
Yep.
And they kept them in a file. They had like these file cabinets. Like, remember the old file cards from the libraries? They had like these cabinets. They kept them in, and they kept
That was
records.
before my time.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Now you go to the library, you got like a little iPad there. You just type in what you're searching for, and it'll like map it out for you.
Yeah, well, Dewey
That's cheating.
Decimal
Dewey
System. I'm
Decimal.
just saying,
Yeah.
brother. Obviously
There's
there's
nothing like
an
that
age
smell
gap
when you open
here.
that thing.
I know, man.
Or the
you
microfiche.
flip through the cards. Yeah.
I skipped school to go to the library. It was weird.
You skip school to go to the
I go to the
library?
library.
Yeah,
I look up all microfiche
Yeah, I don't
history.
know.
I'm like, oh, look at that.
So, and yet Carlos is a guest again. Okay, that shows you how deep we're digging here.
We have the best and brightest on this show.
All right.
Okay, last one. When and by whom was the cash register invented?
National Cash Register. A long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
A
yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah, old Ryan Black has some history on that.
1879. Saloon owner James Riddy in Ohio. You can probably guess why he started the cash register. He was trying to prevent
Stealing.
his employees from stealing. So that's been around for a long time. I think we
Yeah.
probably still deal with that now. All right. Great job, James. I know you had so much fun. So, dual pricing. I think we start with, because like I said, there's the three main variables: dual pricing, cash discount, surcharge. They all kind of have their own different rules, but we're talking dual pricing. So I believe that we should define dual pricing. It's two prices.
Yeah.
Right? And as
Yeah.
simple as that seems, I think there is some more intricacy to that. So Dave, I'm going to let you start. It is two prices, but for some reason there's still confusion on how that works. So in your mind, if you walk into a store, what if they're doing dual pricing correctly, what does it look like?
I mean, there's two prices, and I don't think personally, I don't think this opinion is going to be taken very well, but I don't actually think there's a lot of confusion. I think people choose to be confused on purpose, because the fact is dual pricing is two prices. Dual pricing, contrary to what people might think, is not dual cost. Okay, so you don't see one price and you get up to the terminal and all of a sudden mysteriously there's a total dual, like that's not dual pricing.
That's not dual price?
No, man, it's not. Like, and I know why everybody wants it to be. I get it. Like, I see the residual reports. I get it. Okay, so I'm not so naive and not going to act like an idiot like, duh, what is, like, I'm not going to do that. I get it. But the fact is, dual pricing sort of evolved as more of a standard because it had to, because the old ways of, quote, dual pricing or cash discount or whatever you want to call it, the bottom line is dual pricing is just another way for a merchant, and especially an agent and an ISO, by the way, to get exorbitant amounts of basis points at the end of the day, right? It's a way to earn more money. And I'm not sure why that has not been, I don't know why it's almost like a taboo subject in a way in some of these groups. Like, nobody wants to say, I want to make a crap ton of money.
They won't admit it.
Yeah, I very seldom hear people talking about that part of it. Like, it's not a sin, man. Okay? Yeah. But I'll tell you what is a problem is if it's breaking laws, especially state laws, like in New York. Now that becomes a problem. So dual pricing is two prices.
And it's two prices not at the terminal, right? Like, we have terminals that can show two prices.
Right.
But is that the way it's supposed to work?
To be fully transparent and compliant, it should be listed on the shelf. And I think this is where a lot of the confusion comes along. But before we get into that, why don't we just quickly define what these different terms are for those who may not be familiar. So you have surcharging, right? And with surcharging, you're listing the cash price, and then you're adding a fee if a card is used. Oftentimes, what quote unquote they call a cash discount is just a surcharge in disguise because you're still adding the fee. Then you've got what is called a proper cash discount, or sometimes called a true cash discount. And with that, you're listing the higher price being the card price, and then you're offering a fee for paying with cash.
Offering a discount for paying with cash.
Sorry, offering a discount for paying with cash. And then you've got dual pricing, which is showing the two prices, ideally on the shelves. And then a lot of POS systems now can also show that on the customer-facing display side by side too. And what we're trying to eliminate here is confusion at the point of sale. So when the customer is up there, they should know what that cost is going to be with no hidden surprises.
Before they get there, right?
Yeah, right. And I put a post on this, not to derail your order here, but I want to mention this. But I put a post up about, I think it was 2 years ago. I wish I would have remembered to bring it. But the thing is with Visa is, and I hear a lot of agents, mainly agents, not ISOs, but mainly agents ripping Visa, like, they're doing this, and they're, like, I've heard them called Nazis before and all kinds of stuff like that, right? Visa has a brand to uphold. They provide a service to consumers. They're primarily interested in the consumers, okay? So Visa, using Visa services is not some type of constitutional right, okay? So it's not associated with our rights like ADA and all these kinds. Like, it's not a legislated right.
The government
in America.
Visa isn't the government.
No, man. And the thing is like, Visa has the right, just like Facebook does, by the way, to create their own rules. And their own rules are based on the premise of, we have a brand, we're a publicly held company, we have a brand to protect, we have a process, and that's what Visa's concerned about. Visa, you can make all the money off Visa that you want, and a lot of people watching this podcast have probably made an enormous amount of money off of Visa and interchange, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is in the midst of all of this, like when you just said true cash discount,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that implicates there's a false,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Well, that's that original cash discount
there-
disguised
so
as surcharge.
if you go to the Durbin Amendment again, which is really clear,
Yeah.
it is. It's really clear.
It's also not new.
It's not new at all.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, how old is it? Over 20 years old, right?
Mhm.
So when you look at all this stuff, there's not anything new about this. In fact, the newest thing that's evolved in all of this, to be frank with you, is probably the advent of the shoppers actually starting to deliver fines like on a regular basis. So, a couple of years ago, you get fined every now and then. Now it's pretty much every month. So I know other ISOs, I personally know for a fact they're getting some pretty hefty, frequent fines. Now,
$1,000 is the first one.
yeah, $1,000 is the first one. Now, keep in mind, the ISO technically does not get the fine. By the way, and that's probably not a discussion we should have right now because there's a chain of command, like how it works
For the next show.
But it does trickle down, and eventually, for the most part, it hits the merchant. The problem now is becoming. I'm sorry, I'm getting so far off track. So if you want to cut this out, cut it out and make it a separate thing. But here's the fact: what's happening now is agents and ISOs are skirting these lines, and they're really close to the edge, and then the merchant gets fined, and the merchant's like, "Wait, time out. You told me," and now the merchant's raising Cain, and now we're starting to see attrition. Okay, but what I'm going to predict, and I'm telling you right now, you heard it here, there's going to be a class action lawsuit. Mark my words.
There will.
That's going to come up. And there's going to be a group of merchants that come up not against the acquiring bank, but against the ISO, and the agent's going to be involved. This is going to happen. So you heard, I don't know if you've heard this anywhere, but you heard it here first. If you didn't, mark my words, this will happen. The reason it's going to happen is because there's lawyers out there that are starting to get wise to what's going on, and they're going to seek out these merchants, and they're going to round them up because they can file a $5 to $10 million class action lawsuit against an ISO and literally shut them down.
Right.
I'm telling you, that's
Yeah.
so ISO's got to be really careful here, really careful. And if they're, quote, empowered by a terminal or a system that sort of skirts those guidelines too, listen, that ain't going to work, man. I'm just telling you. So that's where, in my opinion, that's one direction this is going.
Let me change the direction here for a moment as well, just to further derail this. Talking about Visa again, Visa really cares about the feeling associated with their brand, right?
Yeah.
And so when a cardholder or customer comes up and they make a purchase, they should feel good about that transaction, right?
Not penalized.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they come up and now they got surprise fees here and it's so much higher than they were expecting, and now they feel like, I'm tapping my card here and I'm paying all this extra money, that creates a negative feeling, and that negative feeling gets tacked on to the Visa experience as well. And so they're very, very specific with how they control that narrative and that feeling. And so when they come after, that's part of the reason why they're coming after merchants who are not compliant, because it creates a bad experience for their customers.
Yeah, and on that, I like what you were saying, Dave, about Visa's brand. I think agents and ISOs can sometimes get confused on who Visa cares about, and they have that kind of, like you said, they'll talk bad about Visa, like Visa cares what the agents and ISOs think about what Visa's doing. Visa is not a company for agents and ISOs. They're for the consumer.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they are for the consumer first. That's the point. And I think that where the balance comes in, and this is tough for ISOs. I mean, I'm an ISO, I know. And but I know for a fact that ISOs walk a really fine line on this with agents. And agents are demanding. And I'm telling you from experience, agents like to throw their weight around, and I'll go right with somebody and I'll go whatever. I mean, I don't really, that doesn't sway me. So, I've heard a reference used. It's called deal whore. No, seriously, I've heard and there are deal whores out there where they're just like, they don't care who the agent, they don't care what they're saying, don't care, they just want the deal, they want the deal. Well, that's not my game. Okay, so I'm not condemning anybody for that. I'm just saying we don't do that here. So if an agent wants to leverage, well, so and so can do this deal and they do it incorrectly and they're incompliant, then go do it. Like, that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not offended. I'm not going to go home and cry and call Dr. Phil's show or whatever. Like, it's cool. Right. I'm okay with that. Yeah, you know what I mean? But the point is with all of this is the definitions, back to that. Sorry, I got 10 minutes out of line there. But the definitions are very, very, very clear. I think where the problem came in is there were certain influencers and people that really had a lot of attention and voice back in the day, and they created sort of their own terms and they created their own guidelines, and they sort of created, and it made everybody feel like, well, it must be okay. It really was not.
It never was, right?
It never was.
Right.
So what we got now is we have this evolution of these new green people that are coming in. They didn't experience that back then. They're trying to sell this based on people trying to sell that, send them out as soldiers to, quote, make all this money. I mean, the stuff I see now is just mind-blowing. The way I see dual pricing and cash discount leveraged with these training programs that they're selling, I'm just like, really.
So let me ask this, just to kind of throw this out there. When it comes to both the merchant and the consumer experience, who cares more, Visa or the sales rep?
Well, it's got to, in my opinion, I think Visa cares more. I think they care more. But remember, the agent's origin of care is based on income. I'm just telling you, it is. Yeah. And if they say it's not, they really care for the merchant. If you really care for the merchant, frickin' price them at 5 cents and 10, right? Yeah. If you love them that much.
Yeah. You know, my first 3 years.
Right. But I'm just saying, I'm saying that, I mean, it's, so I'm not trying to take anything away from the agent in a relationship with the merchant, but I'm telling you that Visa does care more. Yeah. The reason Visa cares more is because they got a lot more at stake when it comes to the big picture. The agent is a very, 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 very small fish in the pond. And truth be told, again, I'm getting way off track here, but I'm just going to.
This one is James' fault.
I'm sorry, but I'm just going to throw this in there. Truth be told, a lot of the agent activity that we know is normal in the past 5 or 10 years, that's starting to dwindle away because companies like Clover and they're all going direct.
More direct.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at Clover's their annual report and their gathering of shareholders in 2024, they make it very clear where they're going. And I know you know this because you worked for Fiserv. So they make it very clear where they're going, okay? So the agent, it is a balancing act. It's a balancing act, James. So they have to care enough for the merchant in light of the fact that they have to make enough income to care. I know that sounds horrible, but I'm just saying that the agent's time, right?
Yeah. Well, I think most agents get blinded, like you said, with the money.
Yeah.
And I tell you, a lot of these newbies, even old company, well, you'd be older rep, you could have been in this since the start of dual pricing, and you just know that, but you still don't know interchange. You don't know emerging markets. You don't know how it affects this merchant. You have that agent that calls in and says, well, why is my residual only $50? They're doing the same volume as my restaurant. I'm like, what is it, an ice cream store? Yeah, interchange. Ate up the profit. So but the dual pricing and the cash discount, like, what's really crazy is agents, the merchant does not need us to do that. So if I was a business owner, I would just negotiate the best interchange, and I'd have my own dual pricing program.
That's the truth. I'm telling you, that's another. Here's another thing. Again, evolution. This is evolving right now under our nose. Merchants are getting educated. They're getting wise to this. And I'm seeing more and more posts where agents are having to give kickbacks to get deals. Like,
that's horrible.
and now it's horrible, but I'm going to tell you something. People need to really get up on Visa's guidelines and their rules because technically it's actually okay to do that. Most people say, no, it's illegal. No, it's not. If you go look and you look through this right, they actually can get paid. They can. It's possible. And there's people watching this podcast. No, look, just if you go to ChatGPT then, put it all in there and you'll see what I'm saying. So don't call me up. Don't send me emails.
And if you don't trust ChatGPT, James has 9 other AI systems you can try.
Claude
James
or whatever. I'm just saying.
That we'll talk about.
It's spelled JAIMAS.
My point is the merchant is not out. The merchant is not in business to make that agent wealthy. I'm just telling you. They're not there. There might be a few where their cousin does it or their son sells it, and there's some exceptions, but the merchant is not there to make the agent wealthy or rich or make money, right? The merchant is there to save money. If you can have a good system and it brings value and service and all these things and it's balanced, then you're probably going to be okay. But there's a lot of carelessness going on right now. And part of it is because of ignorance.
But is it a willful ignorance?
I was about to say that. And then the second part is a willful ignorance where they're just saying, yeah, like I was in Townsend, Tennessee at a restaurant. And you're not going to believe this but I'm telling you it's true. And it's a very notable competitor of mine. Like everybody knows who they are. There is a sticker at the register that says pay with cash and save. We're on a dual pricing program to look at both prices. Scan here to see our menu.
Like a QR code?
Yeah. I'm like,
What?
I just ate and I ordered from your menu.
Surprise, surprise.
And now I know, I'm like, what is going on? I didn't even scan it because I was just like, I'm telling you, man, I was froze. I'm like, and this is a well-noted ISO. I'm like, are you serious? A QR code, like scan.
So like, does that work?
No,
Because
look, that's what I'm trying to say. Willful ignorance here. Look, you got a menu. I ate breakfast. I go up there and now I can see a different menu when I pay.
Yeah.
But all I have to do is take my phone and scan it and scroll through and find the eggs deluxe platter or whatever I ate. Now I can see. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I don't think it's just
Is this really happening?
I don't think it's just
Tourist
willful
price.
ignorance either. I think in some ways it's almost just they're lazy. Like Carlos mentioned earlier, these new agents, they come in, they see dollar signs, they hear passive residual income, and they think, okay, I can just drop a terminal at 3.5 or 4% and then just move on to the next account without learning all the finer details, how to support them, all the different intricacies. They just move on to the next and sign that deal.
The signage is also crazy. I mean, I remember when it was non-cash adjustment, there was this is the sign you're supposed to have. Now it's like, well, I'll write a sign by hand.
And
stick
look,
it up
shame
there.
on a lot of the ISOs, including myself, because I participated. So full disclosure, I was in total non-compliance.
I think everyone
back
was
then.
like,
It was like, it was, but here's the thing. It was sort of like, what is everybody else doing? What does everybody else think? Like I said, there were certain voices in the industry back then that were very vocal. They were getting a lot of traction. They were building their brand. They're building their thing. I get it. All of a sudden we have a sign, non-cash adjustment. Like, where did that come from? And the truth of the matter is it's totally false. It's totally non-compliant. It doesn't work. So the thing about a sign is, and I saw a post on a group a couple of weeks ago. I mean, again, very well notable ISO. And the sign is totally non-compliant. So what's the competing rep going to do? Turn him in? He's probably doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
he's like,
without
oh, you
a
don't want to
sign.
switch to me?
Yeah, you don't want to switch to
Mystery
me.
shopper.
Like who's going to do that? I mean, that's sort of the Wild West environment that we've seen develop. And why? Well, the reason is quite frankly, it's because there hasn't, in my opinion, there hasn't been a hard enough hammer that's been put down.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have your acquiring bank deliver to the processor, I don't know, $80,000, $120,000 worth of penalties, that hammer gets a little heavier. I'm just saying. And then you start to run the numbers and you go, okay, for me to make this up. And so the whole idea is it's all about margin. If I can get enough margin in and avoid these penalties and everybody's happy and nobody screams, then we're good, right? That's the whole idea. And I mean, it really is. Now, nobody wants to openly talk about that because it's sort of like taboo. Like,
Dave, I want to pause you. We're getting close on time, but I think we're.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think we're flowing, so I think we will wrap here and do a part 2.
But yeah, I mean,
Permission
sure.
to
And
do
because
part
I
two.
want to talk about the margins thing more.
Well, and you've hardly got to say anything. I've taken all the time.
got a
but
couple questions from Carl.
This is real. I mean, this is real stuff, though, isn't it?
It is.
Don't you
Well,
agree with it? I
this
mean,
is
in
real.
principle.
And I don't think
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about this for another episode is an issue at all because people are talking about this every day. The same rules, same laws that people may or not be following, talking about it every day and have been talking about it every day for a while.
Well, in the
So,
next in the part 2, then I'll bring up my solution.
yes,
That we do here, and whatever everybody else does, I don't really care, and I don't have anything to do with. But I'm just saying, I know what we've done here.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we will do a part 2, but for part 1, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
James, thank you as always, and thank you for joining us on this episode of the Paycast Network.